Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Dolphin. Welcome to Touchdown Iowa. The Hawkeyes surprised the football world once again by going 10-3 in 2003 and capping it with a dominating performance, a victory over Florida in the Outback Bowl, Iowa's first January bowl victory since 1959. In fact, 02 and 03 produced the first back-to-back 10-win seasons in Iowa football history. Many players achieved national honors individually. Robert Gallery was consensus All-America and Iowa's third Outland Trophy recipient, recognized as the nation's top interior lineman. Place kicker Nate Kading was a first-team All-American for the second straight year, and defensive back Bob Sanders was a second-team All-American. So many of the 2003 Hawkeyes had breakout years. Coach Kirk Ferentz was faced with the dilemma, just how do you fill those big shoes left behind by graduation? Would this be a season to rebuild or to reload? Ferentz had a team with vast experience returning on defense, 7 starters in all, including defensive end Matt Roth and linebacker Abdul Hodge, both named first-team All-Big Ten. Chad Greenway was honored as a second-team All-Big Tenner, and they were going to anchor a very solid unit on the defensive side of the football. This year's offensive unit would have an entirely different feel from the explosive 2003 team. The Hawks had some experience returning, but just how do you replace 9 starters? For the first time in 5 years, the Hawks did not have the luxury of starting a senior at quarterback. Nonetheless, sophomore Drew Tate was ready to take over at the helm. Just how would the young gun from Texas handle the pressure of starting in the Big Ten Conference? The season certainly had all the earmarks of a Hollywood serial cliffhanger. Injuries decimated the team, especially at running back, and questions arose about who was going to be, in Kirk Ferentz's words, next man in. Each game grew in importance, and the odds against our heroes became more formidable. Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes produced more escape acts than Harry Houdini during this incredible 2004 campaign. Like Houdini's audiences, the fans kept wondering, how did they do it? All of those magical moments will be revealed and relived, culminating with the January 1st Capital One Bowl, here on the 2004 edition of Touchdown Iowa. The season began on a warm Labor Day September weekend inside Kinnick Stadium, the 75th year for the venerable old building named after Iowa's lone legendary Heisman Trophy winner. And this was going to be a year against the states. First Kent State to start with the throwback game, and then Iowa State, the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy the following weekend. It was the throwback game when the Iowa Hawkeyes hosted the Kent State Golden Flashes of the Mid-American Conference. A hot, muggy day inside Kinnick. The Hawks, clad in vintage 1939 uniforms, would give Kent State an old-fashioned whipping in front of a sold-out crowd. In his debut at quarterback, Drew Tate got things going and hooked up with veteran receiver Ed Hinkle.
Eddie Hinkle is close to a first down. He's got the first down. 40, 35. He's got blockers downfield. 20, 17-yard line for Iowa.
The big third down conversion had the Hawks knocking on the door. The Golden Flash stopped the Hawks, however, at the 3, and it was time for new place kicker Kyle Schlicker to put a few fans' minds at ease after the graduation of Nate Kading. The Hawkeye defense, considered one of the nation's very best entering 2004, wasted little time showing Kent State that the going would be tough all day. Later, the Hawkeyes went to the ground game as Tate and Marcus Schnorr carried the load.
Out of the shotgun, Tate straight back to pass. Pump fakes over the middle. Now he's going to try and run for it. He's got the first down across the.
Tate then went to a familiar play for a quick Hawkeye score.
Over the left side to Matt Malloy. He's into the end zone, and for the first time this year, touchdown Iowa.
On the next series, the Hawkeye defensive front started a dominating performance that would last throughout the afternoon. Into the second quarter, Tate led the Hawks downfield again. Iowa used a balanced attack, chipping away at State for a 10-play, 46-yard drive.
Man in motion is Malloy. 2 tight ends. They hand it to Young. They run it Pete McMahon's way, and it's touchdown Iowa.
In control at 17-0. It was time for the defense to again register a big play.
He's in the shotgun. Throws to his right. It is deflected, picked off. Chad Greenway. Chad Greenway comes away with a pick. He may get to the end zone. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. Dives for the goal line.
He's out at the 7.
He stepped out.
2 plays later, it was Tate to Malloy again as Iowa increased its lead. It looked like an ensuing Hawkeye avalanche when, leading 23-0, the Hawks drove to the Kent State 2.
But the Kent State defensive back Jack Williams silenced the sellout crowd with a stunning 99-yard interception and return for a touchdown, cutting Iowa's lead to 23-7 at the break. Later, after the Hawkeye defense forced a punt, the Iowa special team, known for big plays the last 2 seasons, introduced themselves again. Into the fourth quarter, it was Moore McCullum who contributed with both his legs and his arm. Seconds later, Greenway and Roth were at it again. Advertised. Kent State football, and Smith is drilled just as he gets rid of the ball. It's deflected to Chad Greenway. Touchdown, Iowa. A solid victory on a day of celebration at historic Kinnick Stadium.
I think we did fine today. Coach Aiken, I think, took over most of his reins, and I mean, we played pretty well, fitted pretty well, and we didn't run into any big problems, so I think we did all right.
Just because I scored 2 touchdowns, I think I only had 5 yards or something like that, and I dropped the ball. I mean, we got great receivers, and I mean, it's hands every day. I'm just trying to get some playing time.
Indeed, it was an emotional day Saturday in Kinnick Stadium. The rivalry was about to renew itself over the Cy-Hawk Trophy. The nation took pause to remember those lost on 9/11 3 years ago. The Hawkeyes won the coin toss, got the offense on the field, and wasted little time firing the opening salvo, led by Drew Tate and Jermel Lewis. Left to right now, reverses motion. Here's a delayed handoff to Lewis. Big hole over right guard and center. Jermel's loose. Runs through a couple tackles. He's inside the 35, down to the 32-yard line. In Iowa State territory at the 28. 3rd and 5, though. You would think passing. Tate straight back to pass. He's flush from the pocket. Throws on the run. Has his man. Lewis wide open. Up the far sideline. Inside the 10. 5. Out of bounds at the 4-yard line. It's 1st and goal, Iowa. A couple plays later, freshman tailback Albert Young gave the Hawks the early lead. Tight ends are ready. It's Albert Young running the ball into the end zone. I don't see a signal yet. Now it is. Oh, yeah, the touchdown, Iowa. Everyone expected the Iowa defense to shine against Iowa State, and Norm Parker's unit did little to disappoint. To the top of the field. They fake the handoff on the draw play to Stevie Hicks. Meyer tries to run for it, and down he goes. After a nifty 21-yard completion to Clinton Solomon, Tate's next pass was picked off by linebacker Matt Robertson, and the Cyclones look to capitalize. Here comes the snap. It's low. The spotter gets it down. The Hawks took off again on the next series, but were denied points when Kyle Schlicker's field goal was blocked by Iowa State's Nick Leaders. The Iowa defense continued to frustrate the Cyclones into the second quarter, and the offense behind Drew Tate looked sharp. Lewis, he can catch the ball too. Tate straight back to pass. Pressure's coming. He gets rid of it. Hinkle's open in the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Iowa! What a catch by Ed Hinkle! What a grab by Ed Hinkle! He laid out. Ed Hinkle's sensational diving catch, reminiscent of his touchdown at Penn State 2 years ago, increased the Iowa lead to 11. The late Cyclone field goal attempt was wide right, making it 14-3 Iowa at the half. In the third quarter, it was more of the same bruising Iowa defense, as Iowa State found the going tough both by air and by land. It was Tate to Warren Holloway for 23 yards, putting Kyle Schlicker in position to increase the Hawkeye lead. The 39-yarder made it 17-3, and it appeared that the Hawks were, for the moment, in control. But the Cyclone defense was playing well, too, and the battle of the Big D's ensued. The Cyclone offense broke a dry spell when backup quarterback Austin Flynn found 6'5" tall timber Todd Blythe for 40 yards, cutting the lead to 7. Now getting late in the game, Iowa State had one last chance, but as they had done throughout the day, the Hawkeye defense was ready to slam the door shut. Jermel Lewis' longest run of the day, 34 yards, sealed the deal, and the Hawkeyes were to hang on to the Cy-Hawk Trophy for a second consecutive year.
And those rankings don't mean anything to us. And we knew today was going to be a hard-fought game.
It's a great win for us. I mean, it's you know, we struggled a little bit offensively at times, but you know, we pulled it together when we needed to, and came up with the win.
2-0 against Iowa State in my career, so I mean, it feels real good. That's a good team that we played today.
With the Cy-Hawk Trophy safely locked away in Iowa City for another year, the Hawks complete a perfect 2-0 homestand and head to the desert Southwest for a Saturday night affair with one of the Pac-10 favorites, Arizona State, and its outstanding quarterback, Andrew Walter. The stormy weather Saturday night in Tempe that delayed the kickoff of the Iowa-Arizona State game for 45 minutes would prove to be an ominous sign. Arizona State still stinging from its 21-2 defeat to the Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium last year had this date circled on the calendar. They were seeking revenge in their rematch, and they came out blazing in their quest for redemption, led by red-hot quarterback Andrew Walter.
Slot right, back to pass is Walter. He's looking right, now fires to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown.
Arizona State had the lead and the early momentum 5 minutes into the game. Ed Hinkle did his best on the ensuing kick to put Iowa in good field position.
10, 15, comes through a big hole left side. 20, 25, 30, 35-yard line. He's rolled out of bounds.
However, quarterback Drew Tate was sacked twice on the next series, and the Hawks had to punt it away. Walter, who threw for 430 yards and 5 touchdowns on the night, continued his aerial attack before Matt Roth temporarily stalled the Sun Devil momentum.
He's dragged down from behind by Matt Roth.
The Sun Devils added a field goal and increased their lead to 10-0. As the game moved into the second period, Iowa's offense struggled to get anything going, and unfortunately, Walter and the Sun Devil offense were hitting on all cylinders as ASU increased its lead. Following another Iowa punt, the Hawkeye defense made their first big play of the game and just maybe reclaiming some much-needed momentum.
And he's looking that way now. He comes back left, and it is picked off by Antoine Allen. Antoine Allen.
Just 5 plays after the interception, Arizona State trumped the turnover when Tate's pass in the flat was picked off by linebacker Jamar Williams. He raced 31 yards to the Iowa 13. Then it was Walter to tight end Zach Miller for a 6-yard score, and the stunned Hawks now found themselves staring at the wrong end of a 24-0 deficit. Another Jesse Ainsworth field goal puts the lead to 27-0 at halftime. If Iowa had any hopes of making a game of it, the execution would have to be much better at the start of the third quarter, but it was not to be. Another Sun Devil field goal increased the lead to 30-0, and the combination of Iowa's struggling offense and a tired defense was too much to overcome. Walter led ASU downfield again, this time hitting his favorite receiver, Derek Hagan, for a 7-yard score and a 37-point margin. The bulge grew to 44-0 before Iowa's Walner Bellis broke up the shutout with a brilliant punt return.
Touchdown, Iowa!
The Michigan Wolverines are next in the Big House as Big Ten play ensues next Saturday. The Hawks must find a way to put this loss behind them.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just, we need to get over this. Come ready to practice on Tuesday, not thinking about this. Obviously we just got our butts kicked, and we're going to have to learn from it. And, on Tuesday we're going to have a positive attitude and have a good week of practice.
Well, we got the Big Ten coming up, so that's a whole new season. But as far as us getting back to where we need to be, we got to just go ahead and flush this down tomorrow, get back in the film room, correct our mistakes, and just keep moving forward.
The Hawkeyes would have to flush the debacle in the desert in a hurry and refocus on the Michigan Wolverines, the Big Ten's season opening foe. Clearly, the Wolverines weren't going to be very sympathetic given what happened in the Big House 2 years ago. The Hawkeyes wanted to avoid a second straight slow start in their Big Ten opener at the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan on Saturday. As a matter of fact, Drew Tate came out firing.
Guys right up on the line. A fake draw. Tate throws on first down. There's the tight end, Tony Jackson. Jermel Lewis is back there with him. Tate, a 3-step drop, wings it left side. It is caught, and Solomon's fighting inside the 10 down to the 8. Ed Hinkle then capped the 75-yard 7-play drive with a highlight reel catch. Goal at the 2. Tate rolls out to his left, lobs it to the corner of the end zone for Hinkle. He makes a diving one-handed grab. Yes. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! Ed Hinkle does it again. Hinkle's one-handed grab and belly flop gave the Hawks a quick 7-0 lead, and the 111,000 plus in attendance knew that the Wolverines were in for a physical war. Michigan started a drive of its own, but the Hawkeyes' big play defense kept the momentum on Iowa's side. Here's a toss sweep pitch to the running back, and it's fumbled as he's going down. The Hawkeyes may have it. The ball was jarred loose. It is Iowa football. Both defenses controlled the play into the second quarter. Finally, Michigan managed to drive to the Iowa 21 before Chad Greenway's sack foiled a touchdown hope, forcing instead a Wolverine field goal try from 49 yards out. It was 7-3 Hawkeyes. Unfortunately, turnovers began to plague Iowa. Michigan's Lawrence Reed punched the ball free from Hinkle on a bubble screen pass. The Wolverines wasted little time capitalizing. Hawkeyes heading back to pass, wants it all, fires it downfield. He's going for Braylon Edwards. It's caught, and it's going to be a Michigan touchdown. The turnover bug wasn't done nibbling.
Tate's pass was picked off moments later at the Iowa 40. Again, Michigan pounced on the opportunity as Edwards took a Henne pass all the way to the 1 before Henne's quarterback sneak gave Michigan a quick 16-7 lead. The score would stay that way into the third period. Iowa was in need of some offensive firepower. After Antoine Allen's sack on the corner blitz, Tate and company got the ball rolling.
And at the Iowa 42, it's Tate on play action, rolls left, throws, has Tony Jackson, the tight end. He's at midfield, bangs his way into Michigan territory.
Iowa's 5 consecutive first downs on first down quickly moved the Hawks into scoring position, but the momentum wouldn't last. Despite a dominating performance by the Hawkeye defense, turnovers continue to plague, pushing the Wolverine lead to 23-10. Early on in the final period, Tate was picked for a second time, this time for 6. Now trailing 30-10, the Hawkeyes put an impressive drive together, capped by Hinkle's second score. But it was far too little too late. Despite the loss, it was a gutsy performance by the Hawks, one that they can build on for their tussle next week on homecoming with Michigan State.
I don't think any of us ever thought that we were out of this game, you know, and we just fought hard and things didn't go our way, and they got a great team.
I know the turnovers killed you, but you moved the football.
Yeah, we moved the ball, but you know, we can't turn the ball over. I mean, we can move the ball every, you know, we could have 100 or 500 yards offense, but you know, if we turn the ball over, we're not going to.
Can you take anything from this game?
Don't turn the ball over.
The Hawks were at a crossroads after 1 month of the season. Sitting there at 2-2, they had some weighty issues to deal with indeed. The running backs were dropping to ACL tears, and the fans were wondering, did they have enough firepower to get the job done? Michigan State would provide the homecoming opposition, and then there's a bye week to get ready for the Ohio State Buckeyes. If there is such a thing as a must-win, Saturday was it at Kinnick Stadium for the Hawkeyes, who were looking to end a 2-game skid and get back on the winning track. As they had against Michigan last week, the steadily improving Iowa offense threw the first punch Saturday behind Drew Tate and Jermel Lewis.
They give it to Jermel Lewis, and he fights for the first down, runs out of a couple tackles. He's loose. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. He's going the distance. Touchdown, Iowa! Jermel Lewis.
He needed that so badly. That kid needed a break like that because he's been apprehensive running the ball. He ran through 2 tackles, as you described it, and then outran everybody in the secondary.
The 47-yard burst around the corner for Lewis helped put the Spartans back on their heels. Sadly, Lewis would leave the game midway through the second period with what appeared to be a serious knee injury that could keep him out for the rest of the year. But the Hawkeye defense kept the heat on, forcing a punt on the next series. Tate and company went right back to work to the tune of a 9-play, 80-yard thing of beauty.
Good block, Solomon's loose. He's got the first down across the 45 up to the 48-yard line of the Hawkeyes. Second down, almost 7. He's back to pass. They want that quick hitter. They do to Tony Jackson, the tight end. He runs out of a Michigan State tackle, has the first down at the 35-yard line, just inside the State 15. Here's Tate, overloaded on the right side. He rolls out that way, wants to run. He's going to put it away. No, he's going to throw into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Iowa! Ed Hinkle. Who else?
That is a way to string the play out. Tate
into the second quarter, the Spartans' spread offense continued to sputter against a bend but not break Iowa defense. State steadily marched downfield, but were kept out of the end zone and settled for a Dave Rayner 25-yard field goal. The Hawkeye special teams got things back under control.
Penn State and Minnesota tonight. Ohio State and Northwestern tonight. Here's a short kick fielded by one of the upbacks, and it's Champ Davis, and he's got a lot of running room up the far sideline. He's at midfield, 45, and then rolled out of bounds. Out of Cedar Falls. It's good. Bradley gets it down, and Schlicker boots it through with 2 seconds to go in the first half.
Kyle Schlicker's 23-yard field goal gave Iowa a 17-6 lead heading to the locker room. The Hawks picked right up where they left off in the first half.
Away from a tackler, 30, 25, 20. It's a foot race. 15, 10, 5, out of bounds at the 3-yard line. First and goal. They spot him down just inside the 4. Here's Tommy Bush, the fullback, off left guard and tackle. Keeps his legs going. He's over the goal line.
The rest of the third quarter was a highlight reel of great Iowa defense, and yet another good drive by the offense. Michigan State would score again, but it was too little too late as Iowa pounded the Spartans 38-16 before a happy, sunshine-filled throng of 70,397.
We're down
only like really 2 running backs right now, 2 running backs in a red shirt. So, I mean, I just hope he's all right because we're real thin.
You know, it's a 3-2, 2-3 is a big difference. You know, and especially in the Big Ten, we need to even up and go 1-1.
Victories against Ohio State have been far and few between for the Iowa Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium. But it was evident from the start of this Saturday that Kirk Ferentz fired up charges were intent on changing things. Drew Tate and the offense were clicking from the get-go, driving to the Buckeye 11 before a rare Ed Hinkle fumble gave OSU a reprieve. But it was an angry Iowa defense that was ready to answer the bell as well, getting the ball right back for the offense. And this time, Tate, Marcus Simmons, and teammates made the Buckeyes pay.
Runs away from a couple of Buckeyes. Here's a throw up the left sideline, caught by Aaron Mickens. He's got the first down across midfield. Solomon split to the top of the field. Straight ahead running, big hole over right guard. Simmons looks like he had a face mask grab. Hawks go with 3 receivers. Here's Tate rolling out to his left, looking, throws into the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, Iowa. Clinton Solomon.
The high-flying Hawkeye offense was humming on all cylinders, and so was the defense, completely stopping the run. John Babineau, Tyler Luebke, Derek Robinson, and Matt Roth made life miserable for a struggling Buckeye offense. The second quarter saw more of the same. Tate utilized veteran receiver Warren Holloway for a nifty 28-yard gain, which led to a career-long 45-yard Kyle Schlicker field goal. Hawks led it 10-0. Iowa continued to shut down Ohio State in almost every offensive facet, but later the Bucs did manage a long drive deep into Iowa territory. Once again, the Hawkeye D slammed the door shut.
They bunch receivers to the right. Zwick's going to go that way, and into the end zone he goes. It's picked off, intercepted by Marcus Pascal.
Ohio State had been denied, and the Hawkeyes took a somewhat deceiving 10-0 lead into the locker room, having completely dominated the Buckeyes statistically. So it wasn't too much of a surprise in the opening moments of the third period when the Hawks pounced again behind a smothering defense.
It is Iowa ball.
The turnover set up shop at the OSU 30, and Tate, having the game of his young career, carved up the Bucs on the ground and through the air.
Third period. Iowa trying to cash in on a turnover. Here's a catch by the tight end Chandler. He's over the pylon. Touchdown, Iowa.
The 6'7" Chandler used his long arms to stretch for the pylon, giving the Hawkeyes a 17-0 cushion. Again, OSU got nowhere offensively against the Hawkeye defense. Minutes later, Drew Tate found his favorite receiver of the day, Clinton Solomon, for a spectacular play and his 7th catch of the day.
Here comes a pass to the end zone, wide open, and it is caught. Touchdown, Clinton Solomon.
After yet another punt, Tate, Solomon, and the rest of the offense put together a 13-play, 83-yard thing of beauty.
He wants to get in the end zone on his own. He's over. Touchdown, Iowa.
Victory gives Iowa plenty of momentum heading into Happy Valley next Saturday at 2-1 in the Big Ten and 4-2 overall.
To start fast, and and as a unit, we wanted to start fast and we wanted to move the ball as best we could and just put the ball in the end zone. I think we did a good job doing that.
Go all the way back history now. Kinnick age playing against Ohio State. It's a big time game to win, and I'm glad I was a part of it.
We continue to practice good this week, and it pretty much showed up today on the field. Once we came across the scrimmage, the first play, those guys knew they was going to be in for it all day.
The 33-7 final could be scored a knockout. The Hawks dominated defensively and recorded a season-high 8 tackles for loss. Drew Tate was masterful, 331 yards of offense for the young sophomore QB, and Kirk Ferentz' 100th game as a collegiate head coach was indeed a memorable one. Now the Hawks must leave Kinnick Stadium for 2 tough physical road games at Penn State and Illinois. The Hawks showed up at Beaver Stadium prepared for a defensive slugfest, and that's exactly what they got with Penn State. Iowa faced off with the Nittany Lions and their larger-than-life legendary coach Joe Paterno. The game was reminiscent of the 1939 battle at Purdue, in which Coach Eddie Anderson's Hawkeyes battled to a 4-0 win on the strength of 2 safeties. The opening minutes gave an indication of what was to come. Iowa handed Penn State the first break on a bad 4th down long snap. The resulting 2-pointer gave Penn State the early lead. The Hawkeye defense kept the Nittany Lions at bay throughout the first quarter. Matt Roth sacked Zach Mills for a loss, and it contributed to Penn State coming up short on a long field goal try. Iowa's offense started to pick up on the next series. Drew Tate went back to pass and hooked up with Clinton Solomon for a 12-yard gain. Ed Hinkle latched onto one for 18 yards, and the Hawks were on the move. Solomon was becoming a target of opportunity for Tate. He caught another pass for 11 to the Nittany Lions 13. The Hawkeyes called upon the leg of Kyle Schlicker and inched out in front 3-2. In the second period, Walner Bellis gave Iowa good production on special teams. His 13-yard punt return got the ball out to the 27 for some breathing room. Iowa needed a break to even out Penn State's earlier one, and Sean Considine was just the man to do it, coming back after several weeks off with a bad foot. He latched on to Zach Mills' aerial at the Iowa 39 and nearly took it all the way. He ended up at the Nittany Lion 10. Drew Tate ran the ball down to the 3. On 3rd and goal, Penn State rose to the occasion and sacked Tate to force another three-pointer from Schlicker. Iowa had forged into a 6-2 advantage. Marcus Pascal made a pick at the Iowa 27 to end another Penn State threat. He kept the Hawks out of danger the rest of the quarter. The first half ended like the old-fashioned Iron Man days of Kinnick, Mike Enoch, Henry Lubke, and Bruno Andruska. Hard-hitting and unforgiving defenses. Matt Roth frustrated Penn State with an 11-yard quarterback sack. The second half was a duplicate of the first. Neither team's offense was able to sustain anything. Penn State threatened to put a touchdown on the board after they blocked an Iowa punt, making the recovery on the 9. Iowa's defense, though, was not in a charitable mood, and the Hawks gave up just 1 yard. Penn State's Robbie Gould came in for a chip shot field goal, but missed, and the Hawks' slim lead was intact. Penn State threatened mightily at the start of the fourth period. The Lions took the ball from midfield to the Hawkeye 10. But 3 plays later, Antoine Allen came up with yet another interception at the 2, and the huge Penn State contingent wondered how many times Iowa could dodge the bullet. On the Hawkeyes' next series, backs to the wall and facing 4th and 17 from their own 1, Kirk Ferentz chose to concede a safety to maintain the lead. It was now 6-4 Iowa with 8:04 to play. It turned out to be brilliant strategy as Jovan Johnson's interception at the Hawkeye 40 gained valuable real estate in the field position battle. A key play for the Hawks proved to be Tate's 14-yard pass to Aaron Mickens that got Iowa into Penn State territory and on a roll. The Hawks got some timely rushing out of Mickens 3 plays later. His 10-yard flash kept the clock moving. The Hawks were too far for a field goal try, so a punt made Penn State start from its own 20 with 2:41 to go. And again, it was the Iowa defense making the play when it counted. Tyler Lubke forced a Penn State fumble, and Chad Greenway pounced on it at the 14-yard line. Iowa was able to run out the clock thanks to a Penn State penalty on 4th and 2. Drew Tate's ability to draw the Nittany Lions offside was a big play on this emotionally and physically draining afternoon. The 6-4 final was a fitting salute to those Iowa heroes of yesteryear.
First of all, I publicly want to thank everybody. I'll tell you, the outpouring of emails, cards, flowers that were sent, all the prayers and thoughts from the state of Iowa means an awful lot to my family. Okay. I'll tell you, we had a great 3 days as a family together. I'm afraid, I told the team on Tuesday, I wish they had gotten to know my dad, and unfortunately because of his health, he last time out was 2000. They would love the guy. He was a heck of a guy. He, lived a very full life, a life that was full of rich relationships, great experiences, and we're blessed to have a great family.
40-mile-per-hour gusts blew through Memorial Stadium in Champaign on Saturday, even blowing the coin toss sideways as the Hawks and Illini prepared to battle. With the wind at their backs, the Illini took advantage, chipping away at the tough Iowa defense and driving 49 yards in 9 plays.
Both ways. Straight back to pass as Bauer throws over the middle of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Illinois.
Down 7-0, the Hawkeyes would look to answer. Despite sputtering offensively into the win, when Iowa got the win in the second quarter, Drew Tate and company started to right the ship.
Out of the eye, Brown Brownlee and Bush are the running backs, and Tate's going to throw from the end zone on play action. He's got Hinkle out there, caught, 40-yard line. That's a first down. What a grab by Ed Hinkle, looking back into the sun. Here's Tate on 2nd and 10 after the Iowa timeout. Fires it to the right sideline, caught by Hinkle. That'll be an Iowa first down. Tate retreats from center Mike Elgin. Illinois gets a good push, forces him out of the pocket. He heads to the right sideline, now flips it up the field. It's caught, and running forever is Brownlee inside the Illinois 20 to the 19. Tate in the gun. Looks up the middle of the field, fires down, caught at the 5, Hinkle's into the end zone, touchdown Iowa. There's a guy who is fearless in traffic.
The score was tied at 7, and Eddie Hinkle was off on a 5-reception, career-high 108-yard day. The Hawkeye defense, too, began squeezing the vise on the Illini, who would never find the going easy after their early successful drive. In fact, Illinois had 2 first downs on a drive that started early in the second period and wouldn't get another first down until 8.5 minutes remained in the game. The teams went to the locker room tied at 7 at the intermission, but you could sense a momentum shift Iowa's way. With the wind at their backs again in the third period, scoring would be crucial, and scoring often. The defense helped things get started.
Out of the eye, Bauer straight back to pass. Roth coming at him. They set up the screen. Davis has the ball stripped, and the Hawkeyes have it.
The Babineau strip and fumble recovery gave Iowa 1st and 10 at the Illini 37. A pass interference penalty moved the Hawks to the Illini 22 before Tate and Hinkle hooked up again.
And Tate, pass protection is good. Blitz is coming over the middle, caught by Hinkle. Hinkle at the 15, Hinkle at the 10, Hinkle at the 5, dives for the pylon. It's a touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa, on a crossing pattern by Eddie Hinkle.
Hinkle's dive over the pylon put Iowa in front 14-7. After stopping Illinois with a 3-and-out, the Iowa special teams did their part.
We'll try and get off a good one. It's blocked. The Hawkeyes block it. It's blocked into the end zone, out the back of the end zone for a safety. Tate bootlegs out to his left off play action. He can run for the first down. He's going to run for the touchdown, Iowa. Oh, what a job by Tate.
A late Illinois score was not nearly enough. The Hawkeyes win at 23-13, finishing a perfect October at 4-0 and becoming bowl eligible for the 4th consecutive season.
Special teams, that's another phase of the game. Whenever we're out there, we always try to make a play, whether it be kickoff, kick return, always out there just trying to make a play. And today we were able to make a play on punt defense.
You know, we got going and we got a couple more first downs that second drive, and then with the wind, it was a lot more fun, I guess, to air it out against them.
The Hawkeyes get win number 6 in Champaign-Urbana, despite the loss of 2 more running backs. Coach Kirk Ferentz put it best afterwards, saying, "Our players somehow, some way, find a way to win." Indeed they do, and that schooner not only is back sailing through smooth waters, it's become a runaway battleship thanks to a stout defense and very good special teams. And they would need all 3 phases as the tough Purdue Boilermakers come to Kinnick the next week. The Hawkeyes began November the way they ended October, undefeated, hosting a good Purdue team. With starting quarterback Kyle Orton on the sidelines with a hip pointer, the Boilermakers turned to backup Brandon Kirsch to stop Iowa's 16-game Kinnick winning streak. The Hawkeye defense airtight again, stopped Purdue cold on its first possession. And then Drew Tate came out smoking, leading his team downfield. His favorite target was Scott Chandler.
It breaks down. He runs out of a tackle, throws upfield, has a man, Chandler wide open, midfield, 45-40, out of bounds, 1st and 10. Tate's going to throw straight back in the pocket, wings it left, caught by Chandler. He may go the distance. Oh, he's tripped up at the 10-yard line.
After hitting Ed Hinkle on the bubble screen for 12 to the 1-yard line, Tate went to the air again.
Now Holloway goes in motion. Tate rolls out to his right. Looking. Purdue giving chase into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Iowa!
The Boilermakers' high-octane offense looked to answer, moving downfield behind the passing of Kirsch. But the Hawkeyes stiffened, forcing a field goal attempt.
Here comes the snap from the 22-yard line. It's blocked. It is blocked. It is blocked, and I think
the Marcus Pascal block kept Purdue off the scoreboard, and the Hawks had all the momentum for the moment. Later, after forcing another punt, it was the Hawkeye special teams at it again.
They're fighting for it. Let's see who has it. They're going to unstack down there, the 2 Hawkeye gunners.
Sitting pretty at the Boilermaker 18, Iowa was unable to punch it in, instead settling for a 34-yard Kyle Schlicker field goal and a 10-0 lead. The first quarter explosion was far from over, this time thanks to Iowa's big play defense again.
He's drilled, fumbles the ball, the Hawks are on it. Iowa has it.
Sam Brownlee's power running advanced the ball to the Purdue 26. Several plays later, Tate hooked up with tight end Tony Jackson.
Tate rolls out to his left, wants to throw into the end zone, can't, comes back to a wide open tight end. Tony Jackson caught, touchdown Iowa.
For the first quarter, the Hawks dominated the scoreboard and the stats, going up 17-0. Both defenses would quiet things down a bit until Purdue broke its spell with a 48-yard Kirsch to Brian Hare strike, cutting the lead to 10 with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. With the score at 17-7 at halftime, the Hawks wanted to put a little more distance between themselves and the visitors, but it was not to be despite some more great special teams play. On its next possession, Purdue breaks the scoreless spell. Kirsch found Kyle Ingram for 22 yards and a touchdown, and just like that, it's a close, tight game, 17-14 Hawkeyes. And the Hawkeyes and Tate reached down like they have all season long when it counted most and put together a 12-play, 94-yard drive that ended in a Kyle Schlicker field goal. Then there's an exchange of punts. The Hawkeye defense steps up big and forces a turnover.
Flings it left side.
Allen's fourth interception of the year led to another Schlicker field goal. This one from 26 yards away, and the Hawks led it by 9, 23-14. But the defense wasn't through by a long shot.
It's picked off by Abdul Hodge. Or is it's George Lewis?
Purdue blocked a late field goal attempt by Iowa and dented the scoreboard with just under a minute to go. But it was too little too late. The Hawks recovered the onside kick and ran the clock out, winning their 5th straight Big Ten game and 7th of the season.
We're finding ways to win, whether, we're trying to run it, trying to throw it, but, we're finding ways to win games, and that's the only thing that matters.
Hey, fans is everything to us. It's Hawkeyes, and they Hawkeyes just like us. They just not on the field.
Here the Hawks were, a 5-game winning streak, 7-2, seemingly void of running backs, and 2 Big Ten bullies left, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Could they run the table? We'd soon know, as it was on to the Metrodome and Iowa's most storied rival, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, with, of course, the Bronze Pig, Floyd of Rosedale, on the line. With each advancing victory, the Hawkeye Bold Express drives further south, perhaps toward a sunny Florida Bowl. Next stop on the road trip was Minneapolis. The Hawkeyes and Golden Gophers prepared to do battle not only for bowl positioning, but for Floyd of Rosedale, that handsome bronze pig awarded to the victor. It didn't take long for the opportunistic Iowa defense to get things headed in the right direction.
He's got time, throws, incomplete, picked off. Considine has the interception, and he's down at the Minnesota 45 of the defense.
Considine's second interception of the year put the ball at the Minnesota 44, but the Gophers held. And the Hawks settled for a 36-yard Kyle Schlicker field goal and the early advantage. Later, after a long Gopher drive tied the score at 3, Drew Tate began to perform his magic.
Now he runs to his right, throws down the middle of the field, has Hinkle at the 40. Eddie takes a terrific shot. Here comes a blitz. They hit Solomon with a quick slant. He's got a blocker out in front of him. 30, 25, 20, 15. He's going to go to the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa!
The quick slant pass to Solomon pushed Iowa's lead to 10-3 in the noisy Metrodome. Tate on the day, 24 for 39 and 2 touchdown strikes. In the second quarter, the Hawks continued to play well. Eddie Hinkle took a booming 62-yard punt, fielded it beautifully, and returned it 35 yards to the Gopher 40. Again, Iowa was denied the touchdown, so Schlicker drilled his second field goal, this one from 22 yards away, and the Hawks had a 10-point cushion, 13-3. The Hawkeye defense wasn't through by a long shot, tormenting Gopher quarterback Brian Cupido. This time Chad Greenway coming up with the theft. Iowa took over at the Minnesota 34 and drove to the 3 before being turned away at the goal line again. Schlicker drilled his third field goal of the half, and the Hawks extended the lead to 16-3. Minnesota, known for its powerful rushing attack, with Marion Barber III and Lawrence Maroney, finally broke the dry spell as Maroney ripped 79 yards around end and a long touchdown run. The Gophers thought they had Iowa on the ropes, though. They were wrong, as Drew Tate and James Townsend come right back moments later.
Again on play action. Fires down the middle. A wide open receiver. James Townsend caught. It's an easy touchdown, Iowa.
The wide open Townsend hauled in the pass on the broken coverage and increased the margin to 23-10 Hawkeyes. Javon Johnson's pick off the halfback pass minutes later preserved the lead going into the halftime break. In the third period, Minnesota stuck to the ground attack as Maroney and Barber pounded away at the Iowa defense. A field goal and later another long Maroney run got the Gophers to within 23-20. Unfazed, Drew Tate bounced right back, continuing his record-setting pace as he hit favorite targets on the day, Clinton Solomon and Ed Hinkle. The drive would lead to another Kyle Schlicker field goal from 38 yards out. Iowa led 26-20 going into the fourth period. Schlicker saved his best for last after a sack of 14 yards seemingly put him out of range for another 3. He calmly boosted the Iowa lead to 9. Maroney, who scored all 3 Minnesota touchdowns, scored here from 5 yards out, and it was 29-27 Iowa with just over 4 minutes to go. Minnesota got the ball back and would have one last chance to win it with a field goal.
Here we go from the 41. It's a little bit of a high snap. The kick is long enough, and it is no good. Wide left.
The Hawks had dodged a bullet and gotten their third 2-point win of the year as they head back to Iowa City to host powerful Wisconsin for a possible share of the Big Ten crown on Saturday. 3 2-point victories in 4 games. Could the good fortune last one more Saturday? The Hawks return home to the friendly confines of Kinnick to take on the Wisconsin Badgers with plenty on the line. It was the inaugural battle for the Bull. A win would give the Badgers an outright Big Ten championship. A win by the Hawkeyes, and they'd have at least a share of the conference crown. As if any more fuel could be thrown on this fire, the Hawkeyes and Badgers were about to kick it off in front of an electric, sold-out crowd at Kinnick when the Ohio State upset of Michigan was announced. So now the winner of the game would claim a piece of the Big Ten championship. It looked early on that the news may have revved up the Hawks a little bit too much on Senior Day, as 2 early interceptions on Drew Tate gave Wisconsin a golden opportunity to get the lead. But this grizzled Iowa defense had other thoughts.
Run down by Matt Roth and run over by the All-American.
After a Badger missed field goal, Tate settled down and marched the Hawkeyes downfield for the game's first score, aided by the return of tailback Marcus Simmons.
30. Tate on play action rolls out to his right. He's got all kinds of time. A comebacker to Chandler. Got the ball at the 20, 15, 12-yard line. Here's Tate. Retreats from center, rolls out right, throws on the run, has Solomon at the 2. Solomon's into the end zone. It's a touchdown, Iowa!
Clinton Solomon, working into an all-Big Ten season, had an all-Big Ten day. He hauled in the Tate pass, and Iowa, after a slow start, had the early 7-0 lead. Throughout the remainder of the first and into the second quarter, the ferocious Hawkeye defense continued to harass the Badgers time and again. But Wisconsin finally managed a 10-play, 43-yard drive as Stanley Booker, subbing for an injured Anthony Davis, swept in from 4 yards out to tie the contest at 7. Moments later, just over a minute left to go in the period, Tate came up big with what could be argued as the play of the year.
He's going to throw. Now he's going to run. Runs away from pressure up in the middle of the field. Fires down the middle of the field. Has a man caught. It's going to be a touchdown, Iowa. Drew Tate, the magician, works his play again and again and again.
The sophomore's amazing scrambling ability had created the long score on what was a broken play. And the Hawks seized the lead and the momentum at 14-7 at halftime. In the third quarter, Iowa's defense continued its domination, and the secondary stepped up.
Rolls out to his right. Roth is grabbed again. It's picked off. The pass is intercepted.
A third Tate interception was as good as a punt, giving Wisconsin the ball at its own 1. And the Hawkeyes' Sean Considine returned the favor in kind. This time, Tate, who was 15 of 24 on the day with 3 touchdown passes and 3 picks, took advantage of the turnover. Tate continued to pick the Badgers apart as Eddie Hinkle and later Scott Chandler put a dagger in the Badgers' Rose Bowl hopes.
So it's back at the 12 on third down. Caught at the goal line. Touchdown, Iowa! Scott Chandler!
The defense was far from finished. Derek Robinson got the trip up, Merrick got the strip, and Johnny on the spot, Tyler Lubke, recovered the John Stocco fumble. The opportunistic Hawkeyes again capitalized, this time with a Kyle Schlicker field goal, and the lead was 24-7. The fourth quarter was more Iowa, as the Hawks' ground game ground out another field goal drive before senior Jonathan Babineau made yet another spectacular defensive play. A third Kyle Schlicker field goal put the Hawks up on Wisconsin 30-7, and that would be the final to win Iowa's 11th Big Ten title and a trip to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. So much of the credit for this co-Big Ten championship goes to head coach Kirk Ferentz and his staff. What a masterful job in preparing this team week after week, despite all the injuries. And I can't help but think in the 75th year of Kinnick Stadium, that guardian angel hovering over this program all season long was Niall Kinnick himself. Technically, the standings show Iowa and Michigan at 7-1 and sharing the Big Ten title. But the Hawks were the only Big Ten program to win 10 games, the only Big Ten program to finish in the top 10 national rankings. And Iowa joins Michigan and Ohio State as the only programs in Big Ten history to win 10 games 3 consecutive years.
11th-ranked Iowa squared off against number 12 LSU in the 2005 Capital One Bowl. Both teams were similar in several respects. Both suffered 2 early season losses against high-caliber opponents and were rolling with impressive winning streaks. LSU had won 6 in a row. The Hawks had won 7 straight. Neither team had very many easy victories. LSU had squeezed past Oregon State, Florida, Troy State, and Ole Miss. So the Tigers were no strangers when it came to tight games. In fact, they had 4 fourth-quarter comeback victories. LSU and Iowa were teams that featured opposite strengths. They had fine defenses, yet the offenses couldn't have been more contradictory. LSU had a great 1-2 running back combination of Ali Broussard and Joseph Adai. Not since Minnesota's Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber III had Iowa's defense face such a tall order. The keys to a Hawkeye win were not unlike any other during this long journey to the Cap One Bowl: put defensive pressure on the opposing quarterback and stop the run. Offensively, the Hawks needed to give Drew Tate time to find the open receiver. Special teams, always an Iowa strength, was the wild card element.
LSU and Iowa, here we go. The Hawks are the home team, and it's an end-over-end short kick taken at the 7.
Iowa took the opening kick, and Walner Bellis returned it for solid yardage.
A couple of tacklers still on his feet across the 30 to the 32-yard line, and he's knocked down there, met first by Jesse Daniels, a starting defense. Second down 10 at the Hawkeye 31. LSU with the All-American Spears at left end. Here's the give to Brownlee on a cutback. He's got 3-4 yards, fights his way to the 35, hangs on to the football. A net of 4. It'll be 3rd down 6. In motion, out of the gun. Drew's got time, lobs it over the middle, has Hinkle. He's at the 35-40, close to the first down. Crosses
the more than 30,000 Hawk fans in attendance had just settled into their seats when Drew Tate and Clinton Solomon touched off those early fireworks.
We're able to convert a minute ago. See if they do something over the middle. Blitz coming, he gets rid of it in a hurry. Caught! Cross midfield, still going! It's going to be a touchdown, Iowa! Clinton Solomon ran out of an ankle tackle, and the Hawkeyes are on the board lightning quick.
Beautiful read by Drew Tate. Full blitz, 2 linebackers, 2 defensive backs. You saw he had the quick post. Solomon looked for it. He threw it right in there. 6 points.
Oh, Tate's eyes had to be as big as saucers because you're right. He recognized the blitz right away, and that ball was gone before LSU got across the line of scrimmage.
LSU, with senior Marcus Randall at quarterback, started to move the ball. A 13-yard strike to Dwayne Bowe took it to near midfield. Iowa's defense put a halt to any LSU scoring threat, however. Ali Broussard was tackled for loss by Chad Greenway, and Abdul Hodge sacked Randall.
As one running back for blocking protection, he takes a deep drop. Hawks come with a corner blitz. They flush him. Abdul Hodge misses him. He's still running to his left. D-Rob misses him. Hodge gets him from behind, and LSU's going to have to punt the ball as the Hawks just stayed with it and stayed with it.
Iowa could not move the ball on its ensuing possession, but punter David Bradley came up with an excellent 49-yard kick to the LSU 24. Jonathan Babineau put more pressure on Randall. The quarterback suffered his 2nd sack of the game.
Nobody's open. Down he goes. So we've got 2 tackles for loss.
Iowa special teams have to be one of the most dangerous in college football for opponents to face.
And he thinks he can get to one today. Remember him in the Outback Bowl a year ago. Malloy's out there. Here he comes, and they get it! They get it! They block it. The Hawks are on it at the 25, 27-yard line.
Did you just call that? I like it when you do your homework, buddy boy. I like it.
Ryan Majerus blocked the punt, and it was recovered by Chicky Giazzi at the 27. It gave the Hawkeyes their first big break of the day. Iowa failed to cash in when Tate's pass was picked off by Melvin Oliver.
Is picked off at the line of scrimmage by the defensive lineman, and he's still running downfield. Iowa finally gets him on the ground at the 41. What a momentum changer there.
Jonathan Babineau was making Marcus Randall pay for any thoughts of a passing attack. Drew Tate threw his second interception of the quarter on Iowa's next series. LSU was trying to get on the board, but the Hawks refused to budge. They forced a Chris Jackson field goal early in the second period.
Jackson to try from 20 yards, plus the 10 of the end zone. It's a 30-yard attempt, and the kick is up and through.
The Tigers again had a chance for more points with 12 minutes left in the period, but the Hawkeye defense kept coming up with big plays.
He's going to run. He avoids one Hawk, but can't avoid George Lewis. Tyler Luebke almost had him on the ground, so he ran away from Luebke and ran into George Lewis.
Babineau, a one-man wrecking crew, dropped Joseph Adai for a 5-yard loss. Another Chris Jackson three-pointer made it 7-6 Iowa.
Long enough, and it is through. Tucked it inside the right upright. Jackson with back-to-back field goals. The Hawkeye defense holds again.
The Hawks special teams were important in the field position battle. Eddie Hinkle returned a punt 12 yards to give Iowa some breathing room. David Bradley booted a long 51-yarder all the way down to the LSU 20. That punt figured into the next scoring opportunity for Iowa.
He comes up the sideline and he's tomahawked out of bounds, flying downfield for the Hawks. I think that was Becker. They fake the blitz. Back to passes Randall. Iowa drops off. Randall can't find anybody open downfield. Now he's going to run with it, and down he goes. Oh, he takes a tremendous shot from Abdul Hodge, and Randall is not sure what state he's in, let alone what stadium right now.
LSU punted, but the Hawks line broke through. It was blocked by Miguel Merrick. Sean Considine grabbed it at the 7 and took it to pay dirt for 6.
He's had one block today.
LSU in full protection.
Majerus taking another one. This time it's Miguel Merrick. Pick it up, Hawks. Get in the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa. Touchdown, Iowa. Sean Considine with the recovery. Miguel Merrick with the block right up the gut.
Gary, and let me tell you, LSU was in full protection. They didn't even have anybody split out.
With Kyle Schlicker's extra point, the Hawkeyes had a 14-6 lead with just 1:04 left, and it looked like a safe one to take into the locker room. On LSU's first play following the Iowa score, Ali Broussard took the ball from Randall, and he seemed to merely slide through the Iowa defense after he was stopped on a short side of the field run. In a matter of seconds, he was gone, and the score stood at 14-12 in favor of the Hawkeyes.
Well, he's in the game now, and he's back in the shotgun. He rolls out to his right. They look for the two-pointer, and it's caught. We have a flag.
Might be pushing off.
Pushing off on both.
Fortunately, Iowa benefited from 2 LSU penalties, and the country mile extra point try was unsuccessful. Iowa's precarious lead was preserved at halftime. The Hawkeyes and Kirk Ferentz coaching staff have always been one of the best at making adjustments at the intermission, and they were proven correct once again. Iowa's Jovan Johnson intercepted a Randall pass at the Iowa 31 and returned it 7 yards, stopping a dangerous-looking LSU drive.
Fires upfield, picked off by Jovan Johnson. He's got the pick across the 35, back up to the 38-yard line.
The Hawkeye offense got itself established on the next possession. Drew Tate passed to Ed Hinkle for a 19-yard gainer. They teamed up again for 18 yards, and the chains kept moving in the right direction.
Now he rolls. He fires on the run. Has his man. That's Hinkle up the near sideline, out of bounds at the LSU 30. He took a shot from Landry, the safety, but he's going to have to hit him a lot harder to rattle Ed Hinkle.
2 more Tate to Hinkle combos ate up more valuable real estate. Tate ran it down close for a gain of 7, but that's where the drive stalled.
3rd down and 3 at the 9. Showing blitz. They're coming. Here's Tate trying to go around the right end. He's got the first down, then is drilled as he gets inside the 5, out of bounds at the 4. Again. So Tate rolls out to his right. Looking, lobs it into the back of the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Tommy Bush.
Always dependable Kyle Schlicker came in for a 19-yard field goal, and Iowa nudged out to a 17-12 advantage. The Iowa defense forced a 3-and-out for LSU and quarterback Matt Flynn, replacing the banged-up Marcus Randall. Although the Hawks could not muster any offense on the next series, David Bradley provided an impressive 54-yard punt, which kept LSU pinned in the shadow of its own goal line.
Well, the first half gets into another driven punt. Skyler backpedals. Skyler Green backpedals to his 6. Heads to the near sideline of the Hawkeyes. Crosses the 20, and he's wrestled down by Greenway again.
Jonathan Babineau and Abdul Hodge teamed up for a big sack of Flynn. The momentum seemed to shift in Iowa's direction as the third quarter ticked to a close.
Looks back to his left after he rolled out right. Now he steps up in the pocket, and he's going to be downed. Oh, that relentless Iowa pass pressure just kept coming and coming and coming, and Babineau and Abdul Hodge arrived there at the same time.
The Hawkeye rushing attack started to make a welcome contribution to the offense.
Tater appears to be changing the play. Hands off to Brownlee. Big hole over right guard and tackle. Brownlee keeps those legs going. And Sam motors across the 35, near the first down at the 38-yard line.
Beautiful running, beautiful blocking.
Well, we'll see what Tate calls. He hands off to Brownlee, and he churns forward. Let's see if he got it. He didn't need.
Drew Tate connected with Scott Chandler for 21 yards, and Iowa was in business at the LSU 37.
Time is back in as Tate is in the shotgun. On 2nd and long, 2nd and 7 over the middle. He's got Chandler wide open at the 40. Still going. Scott taking 2 and 3. Tigers with him to the 37-yard line. That's a Hawkeye first down.
6 plays later, Tate tossed to Chandler for 20 to the 4.
Another blitz coming. He comes back to the tight end screen to Chandler. He's at the 20. He's at the 15, 10, 5. Dives for the pylon. He's just short. Out of bounds at the 2. What a great call as Tate picked up the blitz from the strong side. Came back weak side. They had the tight end screen set up beautifully. They spot Chandler out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Here's Simmons off left tackle. He goes in. Touchdown, Iowa.
Well, I tell you, Tommy Bush at fullback is just doing a masterful job. He blocked 2 guys on that play.
Iowa led by 24-12, and there was just 12:48 to play. With Iowa's uncompromising defense, the odds had to be with the Hawks. But in came redshirt freshman Jamarcus Russell. He helped LSU put together a clutch drive, converting a 3rd and 15 pass to Dwayne Bowe for 24.
The defensive back, and Bowe's going to go in for the touchdown.
Now he's going to come back to the 32, Gary.
Oh, he stepped out of bounds. Okay.
And the Tigers kept their faint hopes alive. A 10-yard pass to Ali Broussard placed the ball at the Hawkeye 22. From there, Russell found Skylar Green for 22 yards and a touchdown with 8:21 to play. The Tigers were very much back in the ballgame.
Russell stumbling away from center, finds a man in the end zone, caught, touchdown. That's a slant.
The Hawks tried to consume the clock and get some points on their next series. A Tate to Solomon pass was good for 10 and a first down at the Iowa 34. Marcus Simmons rushed for 7 more, and it brought up 2nd and short.
Marcus Simmons trying to get to the outside, trying to get the corner turn. He does. 35-40 out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
2 plays, though, went in reverse, and Iowa had to give the ball back to the Tigers with a little over 5 minutes to go. Like so many games this season, the burden was going to be on the shoulders of Iowa's defense in the final minutes. LSU steadily moved downfield. Russell completed 2 passes to Green, and the Tigers found themselves at midfield. Ali Broussard rushed for 9 to the Iowa 32, and Hawk fans could be excused for feeling a little more nervous than usual. The defense was indeed wearing down. The Tigers finally called a timeout with 1:02 to go to decide on how to penetrate the defense one last time. Russell passed to Joseph Adai for a gain of 7 and a 1st and goal. Skylar Green turned out to be Iowa's nemesis again on this drive. He caught the ball for LSU's first lead of the entire game with just 46 seconds to play.
They fake the draw. Russell into the end zone. Caught. It is a touchdown. Skylar Green on the post. Jovan Johnson turned him inside, and Jamarcus Russell put it right on his numbers, and LSU will go for 2.
Iowa responded to the 2-point try with good pressure, and it kept the score at 25-24.
Still gets Russell on the ground. Well, as he goes down, he throws the ball out of bounds, so it doesn't matter. Matt Roth ending his career the way he started it, with a sack.
A field goal wins it for Iowa, but first things first. They needed to get it close enough for a reasonable attempt by Kyle Schlicker. Walner Bellis got off to a good start with a 26-yard return of the kickoff.
Good kick, backs Bellis up to the 4. He starts back upfield the near hash mark. Across the 20-25. Jitterbugs his way across the 25 to the 28.
Good
Close
return.
to the 30. Excellent return. Here we go, 1st and 10. 3 wideouts for the Hawkeyes, including Chandler, the tight end. Tate back to pass. throws over the middle. It's caught at the 40-yard line by Eddie Haeckel.
Stops the clock.
That's 10. That should be enough for a first down, so they'll stop the clock. Drew's got to go. 30 seconds to play.
Tate then passed short to Warren Holloway to the Iowa 49. An attempt was made to stop the clock with a spike, but the team was whistled for not being set, and Iowa was penalized 5 yards for false start. The ball was moved back, and the officials wound the clock, setting up this dramatic finish.
The ball was snapped before they're ready to play. Be a 5-yard penalty.
Oh, boy.
First down.
Now they got to call timeout. They wind the clock. 9 seconds to play, and Drew Tate doesn't know that. The game's going to end on this play. He fires downfield. It's caught and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! No time on the clock. I don't believe what I just saw. Touchdown, Iowa! Oh my God! I can't believe what I just saw. Was it Solomon?
It was no. It was Holloway.
Warren Holloway, the forgotten man. The forgotten man. Drew Tate tried to hand the game to LSU. He wouldn't call timeout. He didn't know the clock had restarted, and he just fired a touchdown pass of 60 yards. Unbelievable.
Few realized right away that it was Holloway's first ever collegiate touchdown, but the timing couldn't have been more perfect for the senior wide receiver. Stunned and overjoyed at the same time, Iowa fans in the stands and in living rooms across America must have felt a certain sense of vindication for the beleaguered Iowa team, which overcame so much to surprise so many. With the odds against them all season long, those bruised, battered, and proud Hawkeyes faced all kinds of obstacles, even up to the last possible second, but simply found a way to win. Football historians could easily rank this Capital One Bowl as one of the greatest major bowl finishes of all time. You'd be hard-pressed to come up with a better one. It was a Hollywood cliffhanger of a finish for the Hawks, just like the old Saturday afternoon movie matinees where your heroes always come out on top in the end. The 2004 Hawkeyes possessed a magic that few teams ever experience. Head coach Kirk Ferentz said it best in his postgame when he uttered, quote, "I don't know if you could write a better script. Nobody would believe it if you did," unquote. If there were Academy Awards given out for most exciting performances by a football team, the Hawkeyes of 2004-05 deserve it hands down.
Simply said, there isn't much I can add to this capper. What a Capital One Bowl it was. One for the ages indeed. I do know this, as the Hawkeyes finish 10-2, the future looks even more rosier. Thanks so much for watching Touchdown Iowa.